their land, but he knew that it would cause them great suffering, but he wasn't just sitting there ordering people to just take out every Native American they saw. That would make this be genocide. But since he did not do that, this is just world inhumanity. Another big example, Columbine, was world inhumanity. Say that the two shooters at the school weren't trying to rid the world of their students, of their classmates. They were trying to simply hurt them or kill them. And so that makes that a world inhumanity, and it's a word inhumanity because it was so widespread and it got so much media coverage. Another one, 9/11. Terrorists weren't trying to rid the world of white people. They were trying to wreak havoc in the U.S., and they unfortunately did. This is another thing that I wish could be counted as genocide, but we never know, because the bombers or whatever, we don't know if they were, what their motives really were. We know that it was an attack on U.S. soil. And so those are examples of world inhumanities, and it's just, it's as bad as genocide. It's just that there's a thin line between, I want to cause you suffering and I want to get rid of you. Like, I can argue and bicker with you, but I don't want you to leave. Like,
you know, Lana, I take in dealing with world inhumanities, I think one of the most important areas here that you mentioned to me earlier has to deal with war. Now, when you consider war in reality is man's inhumanity to man. Would you concede that? And by conceding that, then you can simply look at the various kinds of wars that we've become involved in. And even on a more personal level, I think that when you talk about inhumanity toward man, you can look at some of the things that happen in your everyday life, dealing with children, bullying, and all of those things. All of those things, while certainly they're not as significant in terms of their outcomes, they are important in terms of individuals who've been talked about, who've been bullied, who've been pushed around, and et cetera. And so I would imagine that you would include such activities as man's inhumanity to man, or people's unloving attitude toward people. Would that make sense in terms of what you're trying to deal with here?
I think that's the most bullying, childhood bullying at that, is one of the most common forms of inhumanities. You may not think it because it's not very harsh. I mean, a kid pushes you around, calls you names, like, what's that gonna do? That has long-term effects. Like, that kid that you pushed off of a slide could grow up to want to be a mass murderer. Why? Because he has so much hatred in his heart, etc. Things that just build up over time from people like you who picked at him. And so that's another big word in humanity. And I feel like if parents taught their children not to mess with other people's kids and not to mess with other people, just be about your business. Just stay in your little circle of life and let other people be in their little bubble, and we all can just live happily in this nice little earth. But people don't want to do that, especially children. And I know it's a part of being a child. No, being a terrible person is not a part of being a child. Why? Because that's not, well, it wasn't a part of my childhood, at least. I grew up with parents who were like, leave other people alone. Do your work and let other people, if they want to have purple hair and red eyes, let them do that. That doesn't affect you. That doesn't hurt you. So leave other people alone. And I grew up leaving other people alone. And that's helped me in the long run, because it's helped mature me at a young age, and so that I can see inhumanities going on, and I can tell my friends, hey, you look stupid messing with other people, so just stay in your lane. Okay, so
Alana, I think as we come to the end of this second segment, I think we can not only make preparations for this final commercial break, but we can say that when we come back, we'll deal more with the genocide part in reference to what we're doing. And we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. You got to speak on up.
I mean, I can't keep...
All the little funny little
Okay, but I didn't expect you to be talking about children.
Huh?
I wasn't.
Well, I'm trying to get you to talk.
Why would I?
Well, you ready to talk about genocide?
Yes.
Okay, you're doing well, but I just want you to be more forceful. You're doing well. This genocide. You ready to deal with genocide? Yes. Okay, here we go. It's 10 minutes.
Okay.
Give me some study you studied about on this reference to this. You doing right. You doing all right. I just want to feel star performance. That's what this is all about. This is about to start on. Yeah. You ready? Yes. Wake up. Here it comes. Get ready. We got 9 minutes and 50 seconds. Now you ready to knock it out here. Knock it out the ballpark. That's what you got to do now. Here we go. Wake up, wake up. The camera's on you now. Thank you and welcome back to the final segment of the show for today. We're talking to Alana McLaughlin, and she's giving us some information in reference to world inhumanities and genocide. And of course, Lana, let us doing this final segment think in terms of genocide. I think that you have information in reference to that, and I think that in order to deal with inhumanities, we're talking about something that is terminal, which is to say there's one thing to fight one another and to have wars and etc. But genocide is a little different because the purpose of genocide is what? The complete eradication, I think, as you've mentioned, of a race. Let's talk about it from that perspective. Let's deal with genocide at this particular time.
Well, if you're just tuning in previous segments, I talked about what the difference between world inhumanities and genocide was. Genocide, like you said, is the eradication of an entire race by mass killing. For instance, the Rwandan genocide. If you're unfamiliar with the Rwandan genocide was when the Hutu government in Rwanda wanted to kill off the Tutsis and ended up killing from 100,000 to about 1 million Tutsis. And there's a whole movie about it, which is Hotel Rwanda, which was a very popular movie, and that's how I found out about it. The biggest core difference between genocide and world inhumanities is basically perception, because not all the times that bad things happen can you actually ask the perpetrator, hey, why'd you do this? So if it looks like genocide, we're going to classify it as genocide, and if it doesn't, then it's just a world inhumanity. And I don't want to say just to kind of make it seem smaller than it is. It's still a great issue in the United States, and world inhumanities are way more frequent than genocide. Like I mentioned in the last segment, bullying is a world inhumanity, and you may not think it is because it's not great scale or all that, but it still is because it's teasing, taunting one another, hurting each other, and that's a world inhumanity. Another very famous form of genocide was in April 1992 in Bosnia, the Bosniak and Croatian genocide, where the Yugoslav army and Bosnian forces started to kill Bosniaks, which were Bosnian Muslims, and Croatian civilians. They killed about 100,000 of them, making it, and at the time, it was the worst genocide since the Holocaust at the time. And so that's another very popular form of genocide, but I think that the most popular form and one of the worst in the world was the Holocaust. If you're unfamiliar with the Holocaust, this is when Adolf Hitler, Nazi party leader, came to power in Europe and Germany and etc. And he ruled over all these places and he decided to kill off Jewish